welcome. This is Reet Kaur Sahani and you are watching the NDTV World Report, bringing you the top stories of the hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived in Mali to attend the Maldives' 60th Independence Day celebration. His presence will mark a major turnaround in ties between the neighbours, something that neither side have foreseen in 18 months. PM Modi will also be in Maldives till July 26 at the invitation of the Maldivian President Mohamed Muizzu. This report brings you all the details.
After the historic UK visit, the Prime Minister is all set for crucial Maldives visit, becoming the first head of state to visit since President Mohamed Muizzu assumed office in November 2023. Prime Minister Modi will attend the Maldives' 60th Independence Day celebrations as guest of honour on the 26th of July. But the visit to Mali marks a dramatic turnaround in ties that once seemed on the brink of collapse just 18 months ago. Back in 2023, President Muizzu campaigned on an India Out platform, echoing his predecessor Abdullah Yameen. Relations soured further in early 2024 when junior Maldivian ministers made derogatory remarks about Prime Minister Modi, sparking a boycott Maldives trend across Indian social media. Then came a diplomatic low, Muizzu's insistence that all Indian military personnel, even in civilian clothing, leave the Maldives by May 10th. India complied, replacing its presence with technical staff just in time. But ties took a positive turn soon after. In October 2024, Muizzu visited India. New Delhi extended critical economic support, including a $750 million currency swap deal and $100 million treasury rollovers. The two sides agreed on a shared vision for a comprehensive economic and maritime security partnership.
There will always be events that will impact or try to intrude on the relationship, but I think this is testimony to the kind of attention that has been paid to the relationship, and including attention at the highest levels that has been paid to the relationship. We've continued to work at it, and I think the result is there for you to see.
During Modi's visit, agreements are expected across renewable energy, fisheries, digital infrastructure, and a possible free trade agreement. Indian flags are up across Mali's streets. Detractors may voice criticism online, but for now, diplomacy has taken center stage. Rhythm Arcadia's report for NDTV World.
Well, of course, this is the Prime Minister's first visit under Prime Minister Muizzu's presidency, of course. The Prime Minister has, of course, visited Maldives on the invite of President Muizzu and is the guest of honour on July 26th. He will, of course, also attend Maldives' Independence Day celebrations. Maldives, of course, marks 60 years of independence. The focus, like I mentioned earlier, will be on economic and maritime security ties. Of course, the two neighbours are trying to rekindle their relationships after, of course, the three Maldives ministers spoke against Prime Minister Modi. He is expected to meet the Maldivian leadership on July 25th. Of course, India has its neighbourhood first policy, my apologies. And the focus will also, of course, be on digital infrastructure, among, of course, other focus will be on fishery, renewables on joint agenda. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, Prime Minister has, of course, arrived in Mali to attend Maldives' 60th Independence Day celebrations. His presence in, of course, the country marks a major turnaround in ties between the two neighbours, something, of course, that neither side expected or would have foreseen about 18 months ago. Of course, the relationships turned sour after three Maldivian ministers spoke against Prime Minister Modi. There were also boycott Maldives protests in India, and, of course, we saw that Prime Minister Modi is in Maldives to, of course, fix these ties. Well, Prime Minister Modi on Friday completed 4,078 days in office, surpassing former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's record of 4,077 consecutive days as Prime Minister of the country from January 24, 1966 to March 24, 1977. This means a single and consecutive uninterrupted tenure as the Prime Minister of India. With this milestone, Prime Minister Modi becomes the second longest consecutively serving Prime Minister in India's history, behind only the country's first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru. While shifting focus to other stories, the landmark India-UK Free Trade Agreement has been signed in the United Kingdom in the presence of PM Narendra Modi and UK PM Keir Starmer. Now, India stands to gain significantly from the trade deal in the form of access to cheaper British products, jobs, and duty-free access to UK markets for major Indian products. British products such as automobiles, healthcare, equipment, soft drinks, and even beauty items will become more accessible to Indian buyers as the average duty rates decrease from 15% to 3%. Let's in fact listen into what the two Prime Ministers had to say.
डिफेंस और सिक्योरिटी में साझेदारी के लिए डिफेंस इंडस्ट्रियल रोड मैप बनाया गया है। हमारी टेक्नोलॉजी सिक्योरिटी इनिशिएटिव को और मजबूत करने पर काम किया जाएगा। इट इज अवर कमिटमेंट दैट फ्रॉम एआई टू क्रिटिकल मिनरल्स, सेमीकंडक्टर्स टू साइबर सिक्योरिटी, we shall create the future together.
Look, and we both know this is the biggest and most economically significant trade deal that the UK has made since leaving the EU. And I think I can say that it's one of the most comprehensive deals that India has ever done. So thank you, Prime Minister, for your leadership and for your pragmatism. And I'd like to thank everybody who's worked so hard to get this deal over the line. We've entered a new global era, and that is one that requires us to step up, not to stand aside, to deliver for the British people by building deeper partnerships and alliances. And today is very much confirmation of that approach.
Well, with that, shifting focus to other stories, new details have emerged in the probe against fake ambassador Harshvardhan Jain, who allegedly rented a luxurious double-storied building and ran it as the embassy of West Arctica in Ghaziabad near Delhi. Now, the accused allegedly ran shell companies in London and even met with a notorious Saudi arms dealer in the past. Now, officials have said that during his foreign trips, the accused partnered with Hyderabad-based Shafiq and Dubai's Ibrahim Ali Bin to float more firms offering overseas job placements and even business deals. Such companies are also formed for financial frauds and potentially illegal arms deals. Well, with that, shifting focus to other stories, the Thai and Cambodian soldiers have clashed along the border between their countries in a major escalation that has left at least 16 people dead, now mostly civilians, and over 100,000 people have been displaced. The two sides fired small arms, artillery and rockets, and Thailand has also launched airstrikes in Bangkok. Bangkok, my apologies, has further warned that the conflict could move towards war. In fact, we have joining me on the telecast right now Amit Khanna, former journalist who's joining us from Bangkok. Amit, of course, there are many Indians living in Thailand. How have they been affected by the ongoing conflict?
I think more than, because the border is pretty far from Bangkok, and there are not many Indians in I'll mention Sisaket or Ubon Racha or Buriram. There are not many Indians, but of course more Indians are towards Bangkok. So economy is a larger concern because the baht has gone down 3 years low. So as it is, Thailand economy is grappling with a lot of issues that we have, floods happening across Thailand. We had tariff issues with the US. And this was something that, has created more trouble for the economy. The tourism numbers are very low this time.
Well, shifting focus to other stories, and this time to Bangladesh. A Bangladesh court has once again denied bail to Chinmoy Krishnadas, a prominent Hindu leader and spokesperson of the Bangladesh Samilito Sanatani Jagaran Jyoth, in connection with 5 criminal cases, including one related to the murder of Chattogram court lawyer Saiful Islam Alif. The Chattogram Metropolitan Sessions Court, presided over by Judge Hasanul Islam, rejected the bail plea after a hearing. Now, Das, who was brought to the court under tight security around 11:15 a.m., was sent back to jail following the court's decision. While shifting focus to other stories, French President Emmanuel Macron has announced that France will recognize Palestine as a state in a bold diplomatic move amid snowballing global anger over the people starving in Gaza. Now, Israel has denounced the decision. Macron said in an X post that he will formalize the decision at the United Nations General Assembly in September. Let's in fact listen in to what the French president had to say.
Ensemble, nous savons la nécessité d'offrir un chemin politique. Et je crois à l'avenir de la solution à deux États comme base d'une architecture de sécurité régionale qui permettra à Israël de vivre en paix et en sécurité avec ses voisins. Je crois à la nécessité d'unir nos voix à Paris, à Londres et partout ailleurs pour reconnaître un État de Palestine et initier cette dynamique politique qui est la seule conforme à une perspective de paix.
While bringing you more on this story, Israel and the United States recalled their delegations from Gaza ceasefire talks for consultations on Thursday, with US envoy Steve Witkoff accusing the Palestinian militant group Hamas of failing to act in good faith in the talks. The move marked the latest setback in efforts to secure a deal that would bring a ceasefire to Gaza, secure the release of Israeli hostages held by Hamas, and in fact bring respite to Palestinians suffering a sharply worsening humanitarian crisis. While shifting focus to other stories, thousands of young people protested for a third day in the streets of Kiev against a new law that they will say will undermine the power of Ukraine's anti-corruption agencies. Now, Zelensky on Thursday submitted a new bill that would restore the independence of Ukraine's anti-corruption agencies in an effort to diffuse tensions following his approval earlier this week of the controversial law. The previous bill was seen as undermining the agency's independence and sparked a public outcry and protest, the first major demonstrations since the war began, as sharp criticisms from European Union were of course prevalent. The controversy surrounding the initial bill has in fact threatened to undermine public trust in Ukraine's leadership after more than 3 years of fighting Russia's full-scale invasion. Among the protesters was 31-year-old Ukrainian soldier Ihor Tish, who lost his arm fighting on the front last year. Let's in fact listen in to what he had to say.
Наразі я як військовослужбовець ще досі діючий, знаходжусь на лікуванні. Після того, як я отримую повідомлення від своїх побратимів про загибелі, про те, як моє командування не евакуює людей, про забезпечення підрозділів, я вважаю, що наразі наша держава має піклуватися спочатку про нагальні проблеми, а нагальні проблеми вони у нас на фронті. Тому я тут зараз показую свою громадську позицію, по-перше, проти цього закону, тому що ми не можемо хавати це гівно просто з року в рік, кожен день. У людей просто має урватися колись терпець, і він урвався. Тому я тут.
While shifting focus from Kiev to Istanbul, European diplomats will meet Iran's deputy foreign minister on Friday to restart negotiations on limiting or even eliminating Iran's nuclear enrichment program. Britain, France and Germany have been urging Iran to talk again with the United States on its nuclear program and to make a concrete step towards restoring international trust in Iran's insistence that its program is purely civilian in nature, despite enriching enough uranium to near weapons grade to make 10 nuclear weapons. If Iran resists, the Europeans say that they will initiate a procedure to restore severe United Nations and multilateral sanctions on Iran that were suspended under a landmark 2015 nuclear deal, because Iran has been violating its terms. While shifting focus to other stories, the UK government has signed a new operational agreement with major food delivery platforms, Deliveroo and Just Eat and even Uber Eats, as part of a broader plan to stop illegal working of migrants. Bringing other stories to you, US President Trump has arrived in Scotland for what the White House has described as a working trip, coinciding with the upcoming opening of a new Trump-branded golf course on the northeastern coast. Overlooking the steel grey waves of the North Sea and set among the dramatic sand dunes in Balmedy, the new course is part of Trump's family business is promoting the greatest 36 holes in golf. With that, we're slipping into a very short break. More news and updates on the other side. Welcome back. You're watching The World Report, bringing you news from the world of business and tech. An $8 billion merger between Paramount Global and Skydance Media has been approved by the US Federal Communications and Commission, also known as the FCC. The merger between the independent film studio and one of Hollywood's oldest and most storied companies was first announced in the year 2024. The approval came just weeks after Paramount Global agreed to pay $16 million to settle a legal dispute with US President Donald Trump over an interview it broadcast on subsidiary CBS with former Vice President Kamala Harris. FCC head Brendan Carr, who was appointed by the president, announced the merger's approval on Thursday, saying that he welcomed Skydance's ideas to make quote-unquote significant changes at CBS. While shifting focus to other stories, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the creators of South Park, are marking the show's 27th season, which will be premiered on Wednesday, and a new deal with Paramount Global, the parent company of Comedy Central. The agreement comes after months of tense negotiations with Paramount as it prepared to be sold to Skydance. The 5-year plan is for 50 new episodes to roll over 5 seasons. All previous seasons will also be available on Comedy Central and Paramount Plus. While shifting focus to other stories, Microsoft has laid over 15,000 people so far in 2025, and it seems that the stress of belt titling has gotten to CEO Satya Nadella. A day after US Vice President J.D. Vance slammed tech giant Microsoft for replacing American employees with H-1B visa holders, CEO Nadella issued a memo addressing the layoffs, which said that quote-unquote the headcount have remained relatively unchanged. He then went on to call it enigma of success in an industry that has no franchise value. While shifting focus to other stories, Intel, the ailing semiconductor giant, said that it expects to cut more than 25,000 employees this year as the company prepares for a major reset. The company aims to reduce its workforce to about 75,000 employees by the end of 2025, down from 108,900 at the end of last year. While Intel also revealed that it will no longer move forward with plans to build factories in Germany as well as Poland. Intel also confirmed that the scale of layoffs while releasing its financial results for the second quarter of 2025. Now, the company posted a net loss of US $2.9 billion, which included restructuring costs related to the latest downsizing. Well, bringing you other stories, 5 members of Canada's 2018 Junior World Cup hockey team were found not guilty on Wednesday of sexually assaulting a woman in a hotel room that year. A judge declared, in a dramatic conclusion to a trial that ignited debate over the nature of consent and the cultural status of hockey players in a country where the sport is often seen as a pillar of national identity. This, of course, is Canada. Justice Maria Carrillo said that Ontario courtroom that the Crown had not approved the charges beyond a reasonable doubt, ruling that the complainant was neither credible nor reliable. All 5 of the men were found not guilty on all offences. While bringing you some tragic news, legendary pro wrestler Hulk Hogan died on Thursday from a cardiac arrest at the age of 71. Born Terry Bollea, Hogan was arguably the most famous pro wrestler of his or perhaps any era. He joined the World Wrestling Federation as it was going national, and his charisma helped transform the sport into a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Run wild, brother!
While shifting focus to other stories, the annual fashion spectacle of the India Couture Week continues in New Delhi, with designer Suneet Verma presenting a line of peppy and elegant evening wear. Actor Tara Sutaria walking the runway for the label Rose Room. My colleague Mayank in fact spoke to Tara Sutaria on her pre-show ritual, music and more. Let's in fact take a look.
Tara, now any pre-runway rituals that you have, what do you think about?
Oh gosh, I think I kind of have started to go with the flow. I was just talking to some other people earlier, and this is my 22nd time as showstopper.
Wow.
And it is something I enjoy so much. I've always grown up loving and just adoring fashion, lifestyle, style in general.
Right.
So for me to walk a showstopper still feels surreal. It feels really exciting. I am a little nervous sometimes, but honestly, every time I come back to Delhi, and we're in Delhi now, it feels like a warm embrace because I feel like the people are really warm. And to anyone who's watching this from Delhi, thank you so much for the love.
Your favorite thing about Delhi?
There's not one favorite thing. I have some people that I really love in Delhi, friends and family friends and such. But
what
the
about
food?
Yeah.
I'm going to have dal makhani right after this walk. I just want to tell everybody, so excited for my dinner. But I have some friends, I have family, the food here, the culture here. I've performed here at the Habitat Center many years ago, and I had a wonderful concert. So just amazing memories, music. I think the culture here is fantastic, so I love coming back.
Right, that's wonderful. And you mentioned music.
Yes.
Now, I know that you're very much passionate about music as well as in fashion.
Yes.
Now, how important is a music of a fashion show to you?
It's so important. There have been times that I've really loved the music that I've walked for. There have been times that I wish we could have maybe, changed up the music. I have to say this evening, the track that is going to play for my solo walk is one of my favorite songs growing up. It's something that we always listen to at home. It's a very famous ballad by a great, great singer called Nat King Cole. It's called L-O-V-E, Love. And it's a beautiful, beautiful song.
I love that too. I love that. And you look beautiful.
Thank you.
Tell me something. How would you describe Rose? Because that's the brand, Rose Room. What does Rose mean to you?
Would you mean the word or the brand?
The word.
The word.
The word,
Gosh.
the flower.
I think so many things. I think all of us, especially women, would probably associate the word with love, with adoration, with fun, with flirtiness, with so many wonderful things. And I think it kind of depicts what Isha wants to say with Rose Room as well. And there's also an elegance and a charm to it, and an old world fashion and a sort of elegance to it, which I think really embodies what Isha's always tried to do with Rose Room.